doing some research into what big epic video I should make next, I noticed that very few people had made stories on 100%ing one of the most popular survival games of all time, Raft. So I thought, lovely jubbly, that's my next video. I'll just quickly go out and 100% it. 20-minute adventure. What are there, like 10 achievements or something? Welcome to Raft, the very wet survival game where you begin on a dinky couple pieces of wood and expand throughout your adventure to your dream houseboat, sailing across the now very underwater Earth, all while being abused by the many variations of local wildlife as you struggle to gather food, water, and what resources you can for you to build up your very own self-sustaining floating home. Will I even be able to complete all 105 Steam achievements, ranging from capturing rare shiny creatures, uncovering the secrets of the old world, and finding incredibly rare islands over the course of an entire in-game year without going completely insane? Well, there's only one way to find out. I begin my adventure, of course, out on the sea, immediately getting tempted by this plank and falling into the water, exactly where I don't want to be, as I'd already gotten the attention of Stacy the shark. Very good. The only thing I spawned with was this plastic hook, which I was able to yeet out into the water and drag back all kinds of goodies from the ocean, like planks, plastic, palm leaves, and sometimes even a barrel, which would have a range of treasures within. It wasn't long before I spotted a tiny island on the horizon, which I was luckily floating straight to. Before I got there, however, Stacy wanted some attention. Instead, she got one of my 4 Raft foundations. Great, I'm sure that's not going to get annoying at all. Anyway, I'd reached the island, only to find something very unexpected. The island seemed to have some occupants. Oh. Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Hello? What have we got here? What are you guys doing on this island?
Who's this?
It's me.
This is our island.
Oh,
Get off our island.
Sorry. Oh, melons.
Oh, why are you looking at my melons?
Sorry, they're just so big and umptuous. Hey, I got a little raft. You guys wanna get out of here? It's very little. It's 3 blocks. It's 3 blocks up. It's a very little raft.
Should we leave our island?
We should leave our island.
All right, let's leave our
Look
island.
how much room is on that raft.
Yeah, look.
Well,
you got a lot more space over here, guys. Look at this. Look at this place.
So much room for activities.
Yeah, you can. Look, we all got a square each.
Wow. All right, this is my square.
Wow. All right. Well, let's get going, Raft. Okay. After acquiring my 2 new crewmates, I found I was able to gather different types of resources in the reef. Most notably, some metal scrap, which seemed like it was going to be a pretty important resource. I crafted up a build hammer next and repaired Stacy's damage from earlier, and I made a paddle as well, which got us unstuck from Matt and Logic's island. We were now underway. Stacy wasn't too stoked about this, but I'd also crafted a wooden spear, which was enough to get her to bugger off. Picking up the lads from their island did in fact get me my very first achievement, team play, which was to team up with a friend in multiplayer. And that very night, out on the open ocean, I unlocked Beginner Survivor, which was to survive 1 day in Raft. I quickly expanded our little raft, and Logic made us a small water purifier, as all 3 of us had water, food, and health bars to manage. He was the waterman, so I got to making us a simple grill to start cooking some food on too, which was also the dinner time achievement. Shortly after, we drifted over to another small island, and to stop us from floating away, I crafted up a throwable anchor, which was unfortunately one-time use, but it did allow us to plunder this island with no time restraints, where Logic managed to find our first blueprint for the antenna.
Yeah, bro, you should see all these flowers I've got. We're gonna have the prettiest raft.
In the reef below, I managed to mine up some scrap metal, clay, sand, stone, and Stacy, who had now found a love for the land. Holy shit. It's on land. It's a land shark. Oh! Wow! Sent it for Logic. I also found me some seaweed and some metal and copper ore. Very nice. Stacy came in for another bite, but with all 3 of us now armed with wooden spears, we actually managed to take her out for the first time, getting us the Beginner Shark Hunter achievement. We were eventually going to need to take out Stacy 50 times for a huge achievement later. So 1 down, 49 more Stacy's to go. Now that we purged the island and its reef for everything it owned, we moved on drifting into the open sea once again, where I was able to craft up some wet bricks that I could place down to dry out. These were going to be useful for crafting ourselves a furnace and getting smelting all those precious ores we found in the reef. One grill wasn't enough for the 3 of us, so I placed another one down as we cooked up some lovely Stacy.
Guys, I'm going to swim over the raft.
Yeah, do it.
Swim over the raft and see if there's any water.
Oh.
As I am about to die.
Oh, there's a crate on it. Oh, I got vine goo. I didn't get any water. Can you drink vine goo? Oh, you got... Hey, mate, how are ya?
Hey, mate. Oh, yeah, no, good.
You're
good,
looking
good.
lovely.
I'm actually dying of thirst.
First tab.
I'm dead. I'm dead.
Oh, shit. Res him.
How?
We not res him?
Do we have to build a bed?
Oh, fuck. I've just got his body.
After Matt's recovery, I continued to expand, getting myself the beginner builder achievement, and pretty quickly I managed to hook up 100 items, grabbing the beginner gatherer achievement too. We decimated another reef at a small island shortly after, and I crafted us up a research table, where I was able to research many of the materials we'd gathered so far to unlock brand new crafting recipes. Most notably, the furnace that I mentioned earlier, and the capture nets. I then built us some medium crop plots and planted some melons, as they were going to be a great source of water and a bit of food too. 2 birds with 1 stone. And speaking of stones, I was now able to smelt our shiny stones into ingots with our brand new furnace. That unlocked a huge range of new recipes in the research table.
Little raft is doing all right, guys. Oh, hello. Jesus.
But before we continue, we need to talk about my favorite business management platform, Gregory. Just kidding, Gregory cannot compare to my real favorite business management platform, Odoo, the all-in-one business management platform and the sponsor of today's video. Odoo offers over 70 different applications all in one place and all perfectly integrated with each other to help you manage your business better. Keeping up with sales, leads, and clients can be extremely overwhelming when running your own business. But that is exactly where Odoo shines, especially with Odoo's CRM application. With Odoo CRM, you can instantly capture new leads from your emails and easily track new clients and new opportunities for your business with a user-friendly drag and drop pipeline. And the best part is, it's free under Odoo's One App Free for Life offer. It doesn't matter if you need to communicate internally to employees or externally to customers, Odoo's CRM application can help you manage all your communications in one place, the chatter. And to be totally honest with you, I don't think Gregory can do any of that. Odoo's dashboard can even analyze your performance and forecast revenue, once again, all in the one place. And the crazy thing is, under Odoo's One App Free for Life offer, you can access Odoo's CRM application for free with unlimited hosting and support. Or if you'd like to access all of Odoo's different apps, you could do so from just 34.40 AUD per user per month. If you want the weight of running your own business to be eased just that little bit, Odoo is the place to make that happen and see your business grow. I cannot stress this enough, but please don't talk to Gregory about this. He's incredibly incompetent and unprofessional, unlike our friends over at Odoo. Huge thanks to Odoo for supporting my silly little channel. On our next reef mining run, Stacy took a big enough chunk out of me that I passed out. And there is an achievement for dying 25 times, but I wasn't dead yet, as the lads managed to res me in that bed we made earlier. So I'd have to grind that one out later. I quickly got my revenge on Stacy, taking her out again, as she was a great source of shark meat to fund our adventure. The next upgrade to our raft was a sail and a streamer so we could figure out the direction of the wind and aim the sail accordingly, which almost immediately paid off as I spotted something huge on the horizon.
Holy shit, a giant island.
That's a big island.
Oh, we gotta go to that.
Yeah, we go to that.
Get the paddles out, son.
Paddling.
On this huge new landmass, we found a trading store, which required trading cubes as currency, of which we had a grand total of 0. We found a little dodo chicken thing, a cave with some mushrooms, and a very angry warthog.
Oh shit, there he is. I stabbed him. Oh.
Taking him out got us the first Warthog achievement, Beginner Warthog Hunter, and his body didn't just drop meat, but some leather too, which I'm sure was going to be another handy resource moving forward. More raft expansion and upgrades was next, as I made us the advanced grill, a second furnace, and a permanent solution to our anchor problem with the big metal anchor at the back of the raft. I then researched circuit boards, which unlocked the recipe for a bunch of electronics, and I researched glass as well, which unlocked the recipe for sun-powered water purifiers. Very yippee. Taking the seagull out got us the kill one bird achievement, and I researched his feathers too, unlocking more recipes. We were really starting to make some fantastic progress, considering it had only been a couple hours of playing now. Finding those boys completely by chance on that very first island sure was helpful for the extra manpower. And just like that, we'd spent an entire in-game week on our little raft, gaining the intermediate survivor achievement. Only 51 more in-game weeks to go. Now, we'd rocked up at our second large island, and after killing Stacy again, I found myself this yellow puffer that explodes and almost kills me when I defeat it. Cool. I did start the puffer line with the Beginner Poison Puffer Hunter achievement, and I went and saved Matt and took out his executioner, that damn warthog. This island had a third hostile creature, however. This giant bird that seemed to love dropping rocks on our heads. Unfortunately for it, we just made ourselves some bows, and after about 10 real-life minutes, it went down, getting the Beginner Screecher Hunter. I was going to need to defeat 50 of each of these creatures for their final achievement, and it seemed like there was only one spawn of each per large island. So moving forward, I was going to need to take out every single one of these creatures at every single island. That's a pretty tall order considering how quickly our weapons seem to break in this game, but it's got to be done. Back on the water now, I'd assumed the role of refining our raw resources into useful ones at the furnaces. Logic was cooking us plenty of food, and Matt was working on the collection nets to passively gather resources for us while we sail all around the joint. We also started killing these damn seagulls every time they landed to eat our precious crops, which was not just progressing the bird kill achievement line, by bringing in a decent amount of food and feathers too. Lovely. Giving the build menu a bit more of a thorough look, with my build hammer, I noticed a better version of the raft foundation that cost slightly more materials than the standard one, but looked infinitely nicer, though I vowed to never again use the old foundations and got expanding with these shiny new ones. To fund the expansion, we were going to need a lot of wood and a lot of plastic. So to get started on more wood production, I bought us a large crop plot and planted some coconut seeds to hopefully start bringing in additional timber. And speaking of timber, the next large island we could see had plenty of trees. So with all three of us armed with stone axes, we got busy deforesting. I think it's funny in a game where the world is completely flooded, most likely due to some climate disaster, three idiots rock up on a raft to what very little land is left on Earth, kill all the local wildlife, and destroy every plant possible for their own benefit. We're not the problem, it's those damn sharks. It was around here where I killed our 10th seagull for trying to raid our garden, gaining that achievement, and occasionally we'd be getting these cardboard packages in floating barrels that upon opening would unlock the recipe for a new decoration for the raft. Decorating at this point in the game was probably the last thing on our minds, however, but it was nice to be unlocking recipes for later, and there was an achievement to unlock every single one too, so progress. Speaking of progress, it was about time us lads began the story of this game. Yes, there's a story. It's not just a floating around in the open blue for like 90 hours, although that is most of it still. To begin, I needed to set up 3 antennas at an elevated height and spread apart from each other, and then craft up a receiver so we could input coordinates of story locations. So I did just that. With some trial and error, I did get the system functioning so we could set course for the blue marker, aka our first story location. On the way there, Logic started to go insane, ranting about some mythical creature called a dolphin or something.
Dolphins?
Dolphins?
Came through the raft at me?
Okay, this is one of your little stories again, isn't it, mate? And I began upgrading our old foundations to the pretty new ones, which got me the intermediate builder achievement, and I opened some more decoration bundles. But soon enough on the horizon, we could see our destination, the radio tower. At the radio tower, the lads and I discovered a handful of notes. left by 3 mysterious characters, Owl, Cuckoo, and Sparrow. Essentially, Sparrow had taken their only boat, stranding the other 2 here, which caused some bad blood between the group. Whilst Owl and Cuckoo were still here, they received a number of signals from around the world, like gunshots reported at a place called Tangaroa City, distress signals from an island named Balboa, another distress call from a location called Varuna Point, a fleet of rafts reportedly heading to some kind of utopia, and a message from the once friend Sparrow from another location called Selene. With the setup of the game's story set and all these mysterious locations waved in front of us, we were keen to get going to the next location. But before we did, I found a blueprint we will literally never use in this playthrough. And upon reaching the top of the tower, we found someone called Tala, which wasn't any of the previous mentioned characters, so I think I missed something. Anyway, she yapped, Matt shot her, and she turned into a golden piss circle, which unlocked her as a new playable character, which was our first step progressing this achievement. I also found the blueprint for the trash compactor, meaning we could start making trash cubes for those stores back at the large islands. Very cool.
Matt, a day to jump from here across into the water.
Whee! Ow! There is fall damage, but I surprisingly did not take that much. I took like less than half.
I took none.
Upon grabbing this note up at the tower, we received the next 4 digits we need to track down our second story location, and we received the achievements Is There a Utopia and Radio Tower Historian for finding all the notes at this location. There was no time to waste, as I inputted the code for our next destination and we were off. On our way over, it was much of the same: snatch goodies out at sea, upgrade foundations, and repeat. Although Matt's nets were really starting to pay off when it came to passive resources, which was really nice. Matt had a bit of a situation, however.
No, I'm stuck on this.
What are you
I'm
doing?
stuck on something.
Just reel it in, mate.
I am.
I'm sure. Just right click to cancel.
I didn't know that was a thing.
And I made us that trash cube compactor to get trashing. Any excess resources we would collect would go straight in here to convert into trash cubes for a shopping spree. Except this early into the game, most resources were pretty valuable to us. Except for maybe leaves, I guess. Before I could burn every leaf on our raft and turn it into Boo from Monsters Inc., we had arrived at our next story location, Bazakaton. Bazakan. In the lower confines of this once luxury yacht, we found a note from a person called Hannah and was warmly greeted by this overgrown rat.
What the flying fuck?
Oh god.
Wait, what?
Taking it out got me my first of the Lurker Hunter achievements, which yes, I was going to need to kill a total of 50 to get all 3. Great. Stumbling around in the dark, I managed to find us a red key, which unlocked a door at the back, which then gave us access to these bolt cutters, giving us access to the red locker, which then gave us access to the blue key, giving us access to the upper floors of the ship. From all the notes that were lying around, this is the very rough story it seemed to be telling. We got a character called Hannah, some kind of mechanic on the ship, and the owner of the ship and former military general, a man called Olaf. Olaf had essentially packed his luxury yacht with all the luxuries one could ever need, except for the ones that had anything to do with basic survival. So there was a bit of a food shortage, despite the bar being overstocked with booze. Hannah and the rest of the crew were getting increasingly frustrated with the general, and to make matters worse, the giant rat lurker things had appeared and put a large dent on the already low food supply. Olaf joins the rat side of things because he thinks he can turn them into some kind of soldier for his own occupation, and when the ship eventually crashes into its now current position, Olaf escapes with its only lifeboat and a bunch of giant rats, leaving the rest of the crew to either die of starvation or be eaten by the remaining rats. What a stand-up fellow. Anyway, while I was monologuing, the lads and I had explored most of the ship and made a bomb.
Care to join me, lads?
Oh.
Wow. Oh, the way you run on the spot into the bathtub. Wow. Really gets me going.
Matt then used said bomb to blow our way into the ship's bridge, where I found the final note and 2 very valuable blueprints, the steering wheel and the engine. Our time here had led to another 3 Steam achievements, Bazakaton Historian, Kill 10 Lurkers, and Bootleg Fireworks. Very nice. That note on the steering wheel also held the next 4 digits we needed to find the next story location. And despite it clearly stating in the story that Olaf left with the rats, and we'll probably have to deal with more in the future, I wasn't so sure. So I spent the next hour of my life doing this. $50. Racking up 50 lurker kills. Probably the easiest of all the kill 50 of a certain creature achievements, but it felt nice to have one under my belt. And we were rewarded with plenty of juicy steak to keep us fed moving forward. Also, it's worth noting that it was about here where we begun to skip nighttime. Not just because we're terrified of the dark, but the achievement that was going to take us the most amount of time was this one, Master Survivor, where we needed to have kept this save file going for an entire in-game year, which equates to 133 real-life hours of playing the game. Now, I don't really have a spare 133 hours laying around, so any way we could shave some time off this would be extremely valuable to us. And by sleeping every night, we could save about 35 real-life hours and still get the achievement. To help track our progress, I crafted up a calendar to find we were currently on day 20. Almost there. Back on the ocean now, Matt learned that manually swimming out and collecting resources wasn't very viable with Stacy around.
I see the shark just mauling Matt up in the distance.
I hope I don't get bit twice.
That would suck.
I got bit twice.
And I also got to planning the design for our lovely floating home.
You know how in like ferries, ferries that they've got like car ferries, car ferries. You know how they're like where the cactus is like in this like tower on the side, which looks like an air traffic control tower.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of doing that for this raft, and
that's cool.
Have like a tower like off to the side, and then the rest of the raft is going to be the town.
Hitting up another big island, we did our standard hunting, but this time I was actually able to use the shop, where I learned we were also going to need trade coins as well as trash cubes to buy anything of value. To get said coins, I need to first purchase some fishing bait, use the bait to catch some rare fish, and then sell said fish back to the trading post, giving us those beautiful coins and reputation to unlock new tiers of trades. Purchasing said bait for the first time got me the beginner merchant achievement, and before leaving, we took out Stacy for the 10th time, giving us the next achievement in that line too. The seagulls were starting to ship me a little, so I went ahead and taught them a lesson.
What's this?
Nah, that was literally right beside it.
Oh,
Oh,
fuck, that was kind of close.
And I got to building that control tower for our raft, the very first building of many on our adventure. So the tower was finished, and I was pretty happy with it. I'd even managed to fit all 3 antennae up there too, having them stored and functional internally instead of big ugly pylons around the raft. From up here, I could steer the entire vessel and navigate us using the receiver computer, and I also reinforced its base platforms with metal, which made them Stacy-proof, as I didn't want her munching on the foundations and the whole thing falling down. With the tower up, I was able to start cleaning up the center of the raft a little bit, and doing so actually got me the This Goes Here achievement. And I quickly made us a small animal pen and a net launcher, as we'd spotted something of interest on the next big island. You see, not only in this playthrough were we going to have to catch 50 animals for that line of achievements, but there was also one for capturing a rare animal, essentially a shiny Pokemon, as occasionally a different colored variant of the standard 3 capturable animals can spawn. This large island that we'd anchored at happened to have one of those rare animals, a striped variant of the llama. And not knowing if or when we did see another variation like this, we decided to make our move.
Ah, got it. Yes, capture
I
one
got it.
animal and capture a rare animal. Nice. I'm gonna call him Zeb.
Zeb provided a new resource to us upon sharing him, some wool, which I quickly researched, unlocking the crafting recipe for armor, and most importantly, a backpack to increase our inventory space. Lovely jubbly. Turns out there was a dodo chicken thing here too, so we also captured him up as another resident of the raft. Anyway, we were on the move now, and I installed our anchor on the bottom floor of the tower for quick access, making driving our big floating platform just a little bit easier. And we unlocked another easy achievement, as we now had access to make every buildable decoration from those packages, stopping them from spawning altogether from this point on.
Realizing how much space 50 animals was going to take up, I almost immediately started working on a bigger pen for Zeb and the gang, with its very own sprinkler system that would automatically water the grass and keep them fed.
Our next big island hunting trip awarded me with the 10 poison puffer achievement, as there actually seemed to be more like 1 to 4 puffers per island, unlike its air and land counterparts. So progress on that one quickly overtook the others. Logic and Matt had really been grinding out the food situation too, with chests full of produce, and they even used all that fishing bait I purchased to gather up those valuable fish, so I took them straight to market, getting us just under the next reputation level. So while Matt grabbed just a few more fish, I grabbed this goat and made an excellent trade.
Here, do you want this goat? Drop the stuff. Drop the fish. I'll trade you for a live animal. Go. Oh god.
Good trade. Oh,
Nice.
There was our promotion, locking in intermediate merchant, as I unlocked the blueprint for an advanced large crop plot. The goat wasn't the only new addition from this island, as we got another dodo chicken and another much larger llama.
thank you, sir.
Oh my god. Oh my god, I reloaded the neck gun while holding him, and now I've like loaded Liam into the shot.
Things were progressing rather quickly on our little raft, which was fantastic as we still had many more achievements to gather. So as we hit day 30, that night, we set course for our next story location.
Alright, there's our destination.
On our way there, Logic did some decorating, and I upgraded our tree growing area with some shiny new advanced large crop plots, which actually got us the farmer achievement. And as we approached an island that looked very different from anything we'd seen before, I hauled in my 500th item with my hook, getting myself intermediate gatherer. Now, this brand new island type was not our next story location, but it was the same biome as it. As things we could find here, we should expect to find many at our actual destination. There were many achievements we need to gather in this biome, mostly to do with bees and bears, the old double bees. And speaking of bees, I brought over a net, and after stealing some of their honey, flung the thing around, catching our first bees and gaining that achievement. While trying to capture the rest of them, however, I seem to have forgotten about that second bee, the bears.
Oh Jesus! What the fuck? There's a bear! I am fighting a bear. Good lord, there's a bear. Fighting
Whereabouts are you?
I'm up like the hill slightly. I was trying to just kind of catch bees. Holy fuck, they're tough. Oh, I killed it.
Oh, you killed it.
Anyway, with our pockets full of honey and bear meat, we continued back to the Big Blue, where I finally decided to build some engines to replace our sail situation. Instead of putting them on the side of our raft, I had an idea to build some kind of shed to store all our engines in. So I cleared some foundations in the center of our raft and got the system up and running. I promise I'll actually build a shed later, and I'll pretty all this up. There was yet another one of these pine tree-filled double bee islands up ahead, so of course we murdered the bear, kidnapped the bees, and I found another rare variant of the llama, which of course we claimed as our own. All of these food items we've been grinding really needed a home, and Raft actually does have a bit more of an in-depth cooking system than just grilling stuff on the barbecue. So with that in mind, I decided to build us a kitchen. I wanted some kind of tiki hut looking circular building, but Raft doesn't really have a lot of options build-wise for diagonal roofs, so it morphed into a bit more of a square hut instead. Adding a decent amount of storage to the place got me the Hoarder achievement, and to celebrate the opening of Hell's Kitchen, I cooked up a storm with some eggs, mushrooms, and potatoes, unlocking the more complex concoction achievement too. After all this time building, gathering, and plundering, we were finally here. Our next story location, Balboa Island. Balboa Island was huge, potentially the largest landmass in the entire game. And yes, it was filled with plenty of bees and bears. On top of our first hill we climbed, we found a lovely lake of acidic piss, which had a little jumping puzzle to get across.
I'm jumping in between all the boxes.
Yeah, I just watched you like miss all of them.
Just past it, we found a huge lookout tower and a small log cabin. The guard for said cabin seemed to be missing a head, so we'd have to come back once we found a light bulb. Inside, we found the blueprint for a biofuel refiner, which was going to be a huge help fueling our engines, and a tool rack that required a bunch of stuff we didn't have. The lookout tower was next on our exploration list, except I had some trouble walking up the stairs. Oh, I've fallen.
I just fucking did it again.
Slow and steady wins the race, boys.
When I finally managed to get up there, we found some notes from a character called Bruno, and flicking this lever activated the tower, which looked like we needed to find another 2 more. On our way over to the next tower, we took on some bears with sticks, which seems very safe, and located some additional story items, including these berry bushes growing around the island. We found ourselves a drawbridge, and upon pegging some rocks at it, we gain access to tower number 2. Oh, I did hit it. Up here, I found another very handy blueprint for the fuel pipe and activated the tower's communications. And the next batch of bees I found managed to get me my next bee catching achievement. But upon arriving at the 3rd tower's location, our path was blocked by these overgrown vines we couldn't get through until we obtained a machete. Not knowing where to find a machete, we kind of just wandered around the island aimlessly for a little while until we stumbled across a use for those berries we'd been gathering.
No, it says use 5 wild berries.
Oh my. I think there's a really big bear right there. Should I put them in there?
Yeah. Oh.
That's a distraction. Oh, fucking hell.
I mean, that thing hits like a train.
Oh, does it?
I'm 1 HP. Yeah, it hits like a fucking. It'll 2-shot ya.
Oh, Jesus. Maybe we shouldn't. It's eating. Hang on, I don't know if we're prepped for this. What just beat our asses was the mama bear, which had an achievement for defeating. But considering it could wipe our trio out in just 6 attacks, we decided to let her be for now and return a little more prepared shortly. With her distracted though, we entered her cave where I found not only the blueprint for the machete we needed, but a physical one too, so we could head straight back up to Tower 3. Up here I found the blueprint for the fuel tank, a bunch more Bruno notes, which I'll go over in a second, and our second playable character, Johnny, who rambled a bunch, and again, piss circle.
All right, yeah.
Oh, he likes it.
On our way back to the log cabin, we defeated our 10th bear, but could hear an eerie bicycle bell in the middle of the night on a deserted island. At least that isn't creepy at all. Stopping the bell did get us another achievement, so that was pretty cool. Back up at the cabin, we placed all the tools we'd found around the island, gaining yet another achievement, but we still didn't have a light bulb for poor Ernie here. So while we prepped for the mama bear fight, and I totally not Googling where the light bulb is, let's have a quick summary of the story these notes left behind here on Balboa. Essentially, 2 characters, Bruno and his sister Astrid, were abandoned here on Balboa when the oceans rose rapidly. Luckily for them, Balboa was once a massive mountain, so they managed to avoid the rising sea. Astrid, however, went missing one day, leaving Bruno all by his lonesome, which inevitably grew him insane. Because of said insanity, Bruno started making up children for himself to keep him company, each of which had their own personalities, as Bruno formed attachments to each of these inanimate objects. Problems arise between his kids, however, when Bruno decides to make a raft and leave Balboa to search for his missing sister, but he can only fit 2 of his kids on board, leading them to murder each other for a spot on the raft, which I managed to track down Ernie's poor murderers here, getting myself another 2 achievements upon replacing his poor head. And just like the first story location, the notes don't seem to mention the physical character we actually meet on this island, so I don't know how the fuck Johnny got here, nor who he is, but alas, it was mama bear hunting time. After a lot of planning, we figured out we could stand on this ledge and cheese the entire fight unarmed. So we did just that, easily getting ourselves the achievement and the mama bear trophy. Very cool. Oh, she did!
Oh,
We did it!
Rawr.
Ow, what the fuck? In terms of achievements, it was really just bear kills and bee capturing achievements left. And considering we could do both of these at other locations later, as the sun set, we said goodbye to Balboa and inputted our next coordinates for the next story location. Let me ask you something, viewer. Are you enjoying the video right now? You don't seem to tap the subscribe button or the like button for that matter. Curious. Something the matter? I'm sure we could come to some kind of arrangement. How about I keep making videos for you to enjoy on the couch or while you're on your lunch break and you subscribe? Ah, my leg! What the fuck? This was loaded? Holy sh! Back on the open sea once again, I'd figured out how to make paint with this paint mill, as all I needed to do was input flowers, and after some time floating around, they'd be grinded into paint. I had a total of 3 painting achievements to complete, so adding flowers and stockpiling our paint stocks was a new constant chore of the raft. And speaking of chores, I'd also now made up some of those biofuel refiners, which required raw food and honey as input, and after a short while, I'd be able to collect our biofuel, as this was a much more efficient fuel source over the planks we were feeding the engines previously.
previously. I then also set up fuel tanks and some fuel piping connecting the engines to said tanks, meaning filling the engines just got a little easier and the fuel would be distributed evenly. Also, it's probably important to note that the eggs we were gathering from our dodo chickens seemed to be a fantastic source of food for the fuel makers, and it was completely self-sufficient, so very nice. There wasn't really much time for any more upgrades to the Raft for now, as with our new engines and fuel system, we'd already reached our next story destination. We'd arrived at Caravan Town. Caravan Town was packed to the brim with these metal van looking things, which looked optimal for camping. Unfortunately, their name eludes me, so let's just call them Blaravans or something. In these Blaravans was plenty of treasure for us to loot, hidden away in cupboards and drawers. That is kind of all I did for like 15 minutes, but I did find a note from a kid called Dedo, and was given a warm welcome by the local wildlife. This creature was a cool different color to the standard red ones, but other than that it didn't seem very important, so I took it down. Except in doing so, I couldn't reach its cool new loot, so I had to get a piggyback ride from Logic. Oh, yeah, come up. Nice. A little later, Logic and I found a water pipe puzzle of sorts. Completing it rewarded us with a zipline part, and making our way towards the very center pillar, we found out we needed another 2 more. We also found a note from our old rat-loving friend, Olaf, who seemed to have made his way after the Zakatan. On the far end of the island, we found what looked to be a rocket that Dedo seemed to have made that required some explosive powder, which we had back on the raft. So upon returning with the request, Logic did the honors. Oh. Yeah. Oh.
Oh.
Oh. Finding the landing site rewarded us with Major Tom, the blueprint for fireworks, and another zipline part. This part of the island was stocked with poison puffers, however, and considering we needed to kill 50 for that achievement still, I got to hunting. The deeper we went, the more we found. And there were some very convenient air pockets down here, ensuring we wouldn't drown. So at the very bottom, I got the Exploring the Depths achievement, and we found ourselves the final zipline part and a metal detector blueprint. Back at the center tower, we received a range of goodies for our 3 zipline parts, like a zipline tool, the blueprint to make it, and the blueprint to make ziplines on our very own raft. With zipline tools equipped, we now had access to the other sections of the island. And the first area was the mayor's Blaravan, where I found myself the mayor hat, and Logic found the blueprint for the battery charger, which was an absolute godsend, as I hadn't really mentioned it, but the sprinkler system that was feeding the animals had drained like 8 batteries by this point. So we finally had a way to recharge them. Very, very nice.
Oh, there's a bird in the nest, finally.
Oh shit.
Oh.
I broke my spear instantly.
Someone fucking should. We finally get a bird in there, you're like, bam, stab.
After a quick research break and getting Tom and his rifle position on the raft, I made myself a metal detector, which was great as I could get started on a handful of different achievements now, getting my first one right here at Caravan Town. As we headed to the final section of the town, we encountered some very gross pigs, which luckily didn't have a kill achievement attached to them. Once cleared, we gained access to the medical building where we found a bunch of healing items and the mayor's chest key. And when we headed back to said chest, I got my first of the 3 zipline achievements too, and unlocking the chest gave us the engine's control blueprint, an item which would allow us to control the raft's engines from the bridge. The final note also resides in this chest, so let's have a quick summary of what we found here. Dedo was an optimistic inventor who wanted to better his community with his amateur science. He would sometimes bother the residents with his shenanigans, but it was always with good intentions. Bad intentions were on the horizon, however, when our old rat boy Olaf arrived at Caravan Town and immediately spread salmonella through the local pigs, aka the main food source of the island. Olaf's true interest seemed to be the island's population of hyenas, which of course he wanted for his animal soldier army. And in classic Olaf fashion, he blamed someone else for the sickness spreading through the town, which also sadly claimed the life of Dedo's mother. And Olaf convinced the townfolk that the city of Tangaroa was to blame for the illness, and led a fleet of rafts to said city for revenge. What the fuck? People really need to stop trusting this Olaf fellow. Anyway, before leaving, I did a little more metal detecting, and I went back and forth on the zipline a billion times, gaining the next zipline achievement.
Our time at Caravan Town had come to an end, so once again, back out to the open sea. Now that we were equipped with metal detectors, I made an effort to stop at every single small island, as they all had guaranteed buried treasure. Like I mentioned before, I need to do this a total of 50 times for a handful of achievements, but these 2 achievements were potentially a lot lot harder. I need to gather 4 unique tiki pieces for this one, which only have a 7.5% chance of spawning, and I can get double ups. What's potentially even harder to get are the 8 developer paintings, which have a 4.7% chance to drop from briefcases or safes, which only have a combined total of a 50% drop rate on top of that. And yes, we can get double ups of these too. Also, treasure hunting was our only current way to gather the late game material, titanium, which we were going to need to craft things like battery chargers and our engine controls. Anyway, our next stop was a desert island, just like Caravan Town, where I was able to get my final bee capturing achievement, except we were going to need more bees later, but we'll get there when we get there. And even though this island was a little different from our standard large island, the chores were essentially the same. Kill, kidnap, excavate to progress everything we needed for this challenge. With the next dig, we managed to secure ourselves enough titanium for the battery charger, and once hooked up to our biofuel line, would power our batteries, provided we've got the fuel. And speaking of fuel, it was about time I got some beehives up on our raft to keep our honey stocks nice and healthy, so I did just that. We needed a total of 10 beehives for an achievement, but like I was alluding to before, we'd actually ran out of bees, so 8 was going to have to do it for now. The next batch of titanium went toward the engine control, which was a fantastic addition, as we could now turn on and off all the engines from here, and we could go forward and backwards too.
There we go.
After fighting an absolute war on the next big island, I secured our 10th warthog kill, and after a quick bit of fishing with that special market bait, I was able to sell our haul, getting us the final tier in the shop, where I purchased a fridge and the blueprint for the canteen. Oh yeah, and this island had even more achievements to gift us, as there was a red dodo chicken here too. Capturing it actually got us the shiny hunter achievement, which was to catch a rare variant of all 3 capturable animals, meaning our goat must have been a rare one too, and I didn't even notice. And on top of all of that, this regular goat we found here was our 10th animal captured, except Logic didn't seem all that keen on keeping him.
Back to freedom, mate.
Look what you've done. Achievements were truly pouring in now, but there was always more work to be done. So I got started building our honey farm right in front of what would be the engine shed. To continue our capturing animals achievement, I found out that the achievement still progresses if you just shoot the animals with the net gun and then leave them there, as having enough grass for 50 animals was kind of unrealistic on our little floating home. I'm not really sure what's worse though, kidnapping the local animal population to farm them in a cage, or leaving them trapped in a net forever. It was about here where Logic killed our 50th bird while I wasn't on the raft, securing that achievement, and now that we had that, I really didn't want to see another seagull ever again. So to try and combat them permanently, I bought us an advanced scarecrow from the store and placed him near the new honey area, as to produce extra honey, we were going to need to plant some flowers for the bees. So Mr. Scarecrow here would protect our floral investment. Anyway, painting the bee trellis a lovely white got me the paint 50 blocks achievement, and after a little bit of decorating the thing, our next island rewarded me with the dig 20 treasures achievement. With all the new lights on the bee area, it was looking rather swell. Oh, and I did manage to find us our very first tiki piece with all that metal detecting. Whenever materials got caught in our collection nets, by the way, I'd almost immediately spend them slowly building along the engine shed, which was beginning to come along nicely. Our little raft was certainly becoming home now, and we'd actually just passed the halfway point in terms of achievements. But let's not get too ahead of ourselves, as of course we had some of the hardest ones still to come. My next dig on an island rewarded me with a second tiki piece, which was lovely, and I did some additional painting of the shed and a brand new main road too, which got me the next painting achievement locked in. If I was to wish for anything more in the game, I think it would be really cool if more automation was possible. As we progressed through our adventures at sea, I found myself with more and more chores rather than less. Some food for thought, Raft devs, if you ever make a sequel. You should make a sequel and make a lot of money and you'd be very cool. Matt had jumped back on again now, and I'd managed to pull another tiki piece, but it was our first double up. Comment below how many double ups you think I'm going to get before we actually finish this achievement. Anyway, I was once again in a bit of a building mood, so I lined the new engine shed with all of our trophies on display, and I finally got started on a storage room, which, I'll be honest, will turn out to be my least favorite building in the entire playthrough. I knew I wanted it to have some kind of raised platform for some reason, but I didn't really want the roof to look the same as all the other roofs. So I tried to mix the trellis thing I did with the bees with a regular roof, and it ended up with this. I don't know, whatever. We now actually had a proper dedicated storage area, rather than all of our shit just sitting on the floor where our raft originally began. Finally, after days of chores and building and crying, we had actually arrived at our next major story location. Welcome to Tangaroa City. enter this great floating city, we had to come through a series of tunnels underground, where we very quickly ran into some old friends, those giant rats Olaf liked so much. And a bit deeper down, we found a huge room with a controllable crane. The puzzle needed us to essentially move all these boxes around in a way where we could exit the room and progress through the tunnel. Except this isn't exactly what I had in mind, as I knew we actually had a secret achievement to get done here too, as there was a secret loot room directly below us. This took quite some time and a combination of all 3 of our brain cells, but we did eventually gain access, getting ourselves the achievement, and we completed the rest of the puzzle to progress into the city. In the next room, we found a very handy blueprint for a water pipe, and almost immediately after, this happened. Oh shit! Oh no! We're flooding.
On?
We're flooding. Oh, that's not good that Matt's not here.
Matt.
Matt?
Bad time to go AFK, Matt.
This new raised water level allowed us to access a higher level of the tunnels, where we found the plantation that had some kind of dangerous electricity puzzle. The best part about this room was it had banana trees and strawberry plants growing within, 2 completely new crop types that we could only ever get from this place. To get the electricity to stop, we need a bunch of tape, a story item from Tangaroa City where we were going to find up in the city. So up we went. Holy shit. Oh yeah, let's go out here. I was immediately greeted by a butler bot, which upon defeating gave me an achievement and a key card. These guys were absolutely everywhere, so we got to taking them out, as we needed a total of 20 kills for a few achievements. And their key cards they were dropping would give us access to many buildings of the great city. In these luxury looking apartments, we were actually finding very little, except for some tape and the occasional vault. Very rarely we'd even find a vending machine token, which we were going to need a total of 30 for a handful of achievements. So we'd have to really keep an eye out for these up here. These apartments were in such great condition, I started to second guess why we were living on a raft instead of just moving in here. You're telling me a couple of overgrown rats and some robots would stop you living here? Place is beautiful. There were many apartments to clear out of tape tokens and the occasional vault or briefcase. So while us lads were doing that, let's have another quick summary of all the notes that were lying around here at Tangaroa. A character called Ruben was the lead engineer of the Grand City and was concerned with the engines of this place failing, as the Captain Tully, was trying to outpace a fleet of rafters chasing the city down. Yes, the rafters from Caravan Town, led by the one and only Olaf. Just as Ruben suspected, the engines did eventually fail, and the rafters caught up, boarding the city in a great raid, releasing lurkers and reprogramming the butler bots to do their will. A young boy on his own raft pulled up to Tangaroa and ran into Ruben. That boy was of course Dedo from Caravan Town. The pair realized they had a lot in common and decided to escape Tangaroa together to find Utopia, and did so successfully, leaving Tangaroa in ruins to the rats and robots. I'm not really sure where the other hundreds of people from either side of this battle ended up, nor do I think a young boy leaving on a raft with an adult male stranger is a fantastic idea for a kid who's allegedly smart. But yeah, that's what seemed to have happened before me and the lads rocked up. We'd now cleared almost every single apartment, but couldn't figure out how to get to the main tower in the very center of the city. Then we remembered about the tape in the plantation and realized we were a bunch of silly billies. So we went back there, repaired all the electrical damage with all that tape we'd been finding, which actually got us the electric purifier blueprint and access to a brand new elevator we hadn't been in. Using said elevator got us up to a lovely rooftop bar, which had a handful of tokens hidden about, and a zipline over to the center tower of the city. At the top, we were rewarded with a large storage blueprint, which was awesome if I hadn't have just made a billion new chests for our storage room. There was also a keypad up here where we needed to find the street number of these 4 buildings, which would presumably be the code. So I ran around and checked all the numbers and relayed them back to Logic. This launched the very top of the tower into the ocean. So naturally, we headed over to investigate. In here, we found the blueprint for the water tank, the final note for Tangaroa, some treasure, and our 3rd playable character. Upon returning for a quick pit stop at the raft, I realized I didn't have one of the earliest achievements in the game because Logic did it for me. It's better without salt, which was to craft and place a simple purifier. So I quickly did that and then threw it in the bin. Despite us getting the code for our next story location, we were actually far from finished here at Tangaroa. See all these beautiful lush trees greening up the mighty city? Well, I wanted them. So I spent an ungodly amount of time and almost 5 full metal axes of durability doing this. There we go. 241. The final count. This looks a lot less pretty without all the trees. While I was doing so, Logic was hunting for some final tokens we'd missed, and we did manage to easily take out 20 butler bots, gaining both of these achievements. In the underground elevator, we'd missed a secret button on the doorway, which gave us access to a secret room and the 20 floors down achievement. And thanks to Logic's token collecting, we were now due for a shopping spree at these vending machines in the center of town. Buying pretty much one of every single decorative object got us not one, not two, but 3 achievements. Very nice. That grand piano we'd purchased also held another achievement too. Out of all the story locations, I think Tangaroa might have the most amount of achievements hidden within. Lovely jubbly. We were now finished up here, however, so we said goodbye to Tangaroa and headed back off to the open ocean once again. We were at day 97 in-game, and at a crisp 71 achievements. But like I said before, some of our final achievements were going to take longer than all of these achievements combined. Now that we had some upgrades to make to our water situation, I did just that by crafting up some electric purifiers, which just needed a battery as input and would convert salty seawater into drinking water automatically. I then made some major expansions to the animal area, adding another 2 sprinklers, and began setting up water pipes, connecting them all to an automatic water system. Combined with all the fuel pipes from the engine room, this new water system actually got us the plumber power achievement for having 30 pipes on board too. Our next small island gave us another tiki piece, but unfortunately it was another double up, and I moved each animal type into its own species plot for more organization. Speaking of organization, palm leaves had started filling every single chest we had, so I refined them into a boatload of rope for storage reasons, plus rope is actually more useful than leaves and was more efficient for the trash cube maker. And finally, after about 40 treasures dug up, we found this. I got one! A dev painting.
Got a painting?
Our very first dev painting. Only 7 more to go. Once again, after plenty of upgrades and raft chores, we'd finally arrived at our next story location. It was time to explore Varuna Point. Varuna Point was made up of these 2 towers, one with a big old crane on it. Naturally, the crane was where we wanted to first check out, so up we went. Once again, we found lurkers here, meaning that of course Rat Boy Olaf must have beaten us here too, so we quickly took them out. Up on top of the crane, we found the blueprint for an electric grill, and we were finding a handful of notes from a character called the Grabber. I also found out that I have the strongest legs in the entire world when this happened. Oh, I fell! I'm alive. What? Anyway, we did some underwater exploration next, where I found my first anglerfish. Once again, we need to kill 50 of these, but they were a little different, with only a total of 9 spawn points across 2 story locations, and they don't respawn unless you completely leave the island and make it reset. This is probably why this is the rarest achievement in the entire game. Not because it's difficult in any way, but it's extremely monotonous and time-consuming for no real reason. Luckily, I had a plan to cheese this one a little later. Anyway, down here in the sunken, half-constructed apartments, we also began finding spotlight parts as story items. Deeper down, I found a motherlode door, which required a key, found some hidden treasure, and found a use for those spotlight parts, which cleared away these jellyfish, gaining access to a new tunnel. Inside, we found more hidden treasures, but as we progressed deeper, we found our path covered in deadly traps, supposedly left by this grabber fellow. Finally reaching the end of the path, we found another blueprint we will still never use, and that motherlode key we needed. We also got the achievement for locating every grabber cache, which I don't even really know how we did that at all. But yay, achievement! When we entered through the motherlode door and followed the tunnel, however, this happened.
Go here, Matt.
Whoa!
What the fuck?
Oh,
Oh,
what was that?
Shit! There's a big fucking shark! This epic boss fight was kind of annoying, especially with a group of 3. You see, we did not have much oxygen down here in the depths, but we could gather some from these bubbly areas. The problem is, if the big shark targets you, congratulations, you're now very far away from that oxygen. To progress, we needed to bait him to charge at us with a pillar as cover, then pop one of these explosive barrels in the pillar. Unfortunately, the drowning claimed Matt really quickly, so it was just Logic and I left. But I did manage to get our first hit on the big boy, which progressed us to the next level with even more more reinforced pillars. Rinse and repeat until we were at the final level with one mega pillar in the center. This one needed to be hit a number of times before we could place a barrel in there. Unfortunately, the shark didn't really have an interest in me and the pillar, as it kept attacking Logic over and over again until inevitably it was now just up to me, which honestly kind of made baiting him a little easier, as now he only had a single target to charge. Finally, he was down, rewarding us with the achievement and his trophy. Now, both the boys were still knocked down here, and I didn't want to just give up on them as they'd lose 2/3 of their very full inventories. So my rescue mission was underway. Before that though, I quickly checked a small room that had been cleared thanks to the big shark to find the wind turbine blueprint and the keys to the big crane. Now that the lads were back up and running, I checked out that trophy from the shark. Holy fuck.
What?
Shark trophy's huge. And we climbed the crane once again to do this. Oh. Oh. Taking the zipline down to the wreck got me the Zip Zap achievement, and in the rubble I found probably the best blueprint in the entire game, the Advanced Battery Blueprint, as well as the final note of this location, locking in another achievement. And speaking of notes, the summary of Varuna Point was as follows. A character called the Grabber resided in these half-constructed towers, and may have even been a leading cause in the reason behind their abandonment. The Grabber would grab things and steal from anyone who tried to set up camp here, doing so completely out of sight, essentially freaking them out back to the ocean. One of the Grabber's victims was Bruno, the insane guy from Balboa who tried to contact his sister at the top of the crane to no avail, and was robbed of one of his made-up kids. The duo Ruben and Dedo who'd escaped Tangaroa also made a pit stop here, to of course also be robbed by this Grabber fellow. I'm not really sure where this Grabber was by the time we arrived, but we grabbed all of his stolen things for ourselves, so it was time to say goodbye to Varuna Point, at least for now. We had no time to waste, so we inputted our next codes for the second last story location, and on the way there I built that wind turbine we'd unlocked, allowing us to charge even more batteries for free wind instead of fuel. And we got that electrical grill up and running too, complete with a fancy new advanced battery. That was literally all we did before arriving at our next story location. We must have been absolutely zooming, as we'd reached Temperance.
I'm a penguin.
Oh, Matt's having fun in the snow already. Look at him go.
The icy cold island of Temperance rivaled the size of Balboa, and was also home to bears of the polar variety this time. We headed out to explore, and very quickly we located an igloo-based town. To access any of these buildings, we needed to gather some electrical cable from these towers dotted around the island, and then connect them all together into a grid to power each place and open the doors. We ran out of cable pretty quickly, so it was time to explore the rest of the island, and luckily there was a pretty cool way for us to do so.
Matt,
Yeah.
care to go for a ride? Get on. Oh yeah. Snowmobile.
Now that we had a few more cables, the lads and I had a quick race back to town.
Oh, there he is.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, yeah.
What the?
Get fun. Oh shit.
Oh shit!
Yes. Some air. No, watch it ahead.
Did Bradbury eat your heart out?
Oh fuck. He's made it.
Yeah, winner.
Oh, he won.
You all suck. Oh, Jesus.
Hey, mate.
Oh, Jesus.
And I located a lab-looking building where this happened.
Whoa. Oh no. Oh. There's a bear. There's a bear walking on nothing above me.
Oh, you there? Oh, the bear's chasing
I
me.
just shot the bear and it angered you.
This building housed an observatory that had some kind of star map puzzle to complete. We needed 4 numbers to unlock a safe in here, and in our journals were 4 patterns to find with the telescope. Once we found the pattern, we just needed to count the number of stars that made it up, and bam, there was our code. Opening the locker got us the Selene key and the blueprint for the electric anchor, which could be controlled by our engine controls. Instructing it would now finally give us full control of the raft from our bridge. Back in the town again, we'd gathered enough cable to enter the large igloo in the center of town, where we got an upgrade to our biofuel making with this blueprint and a story item, the blowtorch. We now had everything we needed to enter this huge building at the top of the hill, the Seanie nuclear power plant. Within, we found the nuclear reactor to have malfunctioned. So as we're like the only people still alive in this world, I guess it was up to us 3 idiots to fix it. There were some time-based puzzles at first, which I only just got right in time, and moving through, we found ourselves a multitude of laser puzzles. I'm not going to sit here and explain this whole thing, as this took us way longer to complete than I'd like to admit, but our reward was a little bit of loot and 3 nuclear control rods, which we needed to input into the reactor.
Can be built for real, I know it.
Control door stuck. Manual insertion. Oh, there's a key. Oh god, there's things in here.
Oh, there's gonna be bugs in here, isn't there? Yep. Fuck. Oh fuck. Well, that's not good.
That one's in. That one's in. Yeah, you do the next one, Matt. I'll protect you. After the successful input of all the nuclear rods, we gain access to the final room where we got a bunch of extra tokens and the blueprint for the industrial smelter. There was also a man in this chamber, which after some dialogue finally got us the All Aboard achievement, unlocking every playable character in the game. We missed a note back in the Igloo Town, which got us the Every Note achievement for Temperance, and of course unlocked my summary of the island's lore. Bruno had made his way all the way from Balboa, stopping at Verona Point, to now here at Temperance, where he's still looking for his sister Astrid. Unfortunately for Bruno, he's attacked by a polar bear and injured, but 2 people find and rescue him. Of course, our duo, Dedo and Ruben. Having some actual real human interaction for the first time in years, Bruno seems to find himself again, and his fake children stop talking back to him. So he decides to leave his final kid behind, Henry, to watch over Temperance, as the trio leave the icy island to find the one and only Utopia. There's also a brief mention of Sparrow here, one of the 3 characters from our very first story location, who was successfully running the reactor until they received a message from Utopia that a certain Olaf had taken control of the place, and presumably they've headed to Utopia as well. So if everyone was heading to Utopia, I suppose it was about time we did too. But before we did, a bit of shopping at these vending machines was in order, and I got the final Temperance achievement by doing this. Kick some blood. Oh, it just instantly disappears. After all these interesting and unique story locations, we were finally ready for the place this entire story has led us to. We were finally ready for Utopia. Beginning our adventures at Utopia, I found myself a puzzle at Dedo's brand new farmhouse, where I needed to dig specific dirt piles marked on this map. Easily finding all 3 of Dedo's codes, this gave me access to his house, where I found a harpoon and a blueprint for a big backpack, along with plenty of other treasures. I guess we're just robbing kids now, but anyway. Now there was a bunch of pipes with some kind of pipe puzzle dotted around the fields, but upon finding the water pump, we found that it didn't have power. So following the cables led us over here, where we met Olaf's new friends.
Are you good? You good? I don't know if I want to come over there.
Oh my god,
shit, it
what
grabbed
is that
Matt.
animation?
Once dealt with, we found these movable crates we could place and then climb, so we did just that, which revealed another electric cable puzzle similar to the one back at Temperance. Now, the way we ended up completing this was probably not the way it was intended, but we got it done, restoring power to the generator. The water pipe puzzle was next, which was pretty straightforward. Line the pipes up with the other pipes, etc, etc. This filled Dedo's water tank with fresh water, where I found a carbon dioxide tank floating at the top. With this and the harpoon I found in his house, we were able to load the huge harpoon gun at the top of his tower and do this. Oh shit.
Oh, damn.
It's a zipline. Go. Up here we found an entrance key, which we quickly realized we were going to need 2 of. What crazy epic adventure full of puzzles and riddles would need to be solved to collect the second key? It was right here on the ground, in front of what seemed to be a big jail. You see, Olaf, the crazed animal-loving lunatic, had taken over Utopia with his army of hyenas and locked all the people away in this building. And of course, it was once again up to our trio to save the day. Now, through the double-keyed door, we found ourselves ascending up an elevator to find a big old parkour puzzle. And after a bit of trial and error, we got to the end where I grabbed this hammer, which gave us access to this room where we finally ran into the one and only.
Oh no, there's
I
more.
will only say this once.
Oh, there's a guy there.
Leave on your raft. Leave Utopia to me, or else the forwards end with you.
What is a forward scout, I hear you ask? Well, apparently that's us, the forward scouts of the new world. Except we were literally the last people ever at every single story location we'd been to so far. I'd consider us more behind scouts, considering how much we were missing. Anyway, there was another super simple puzzle here that we completely cheesed, which gave us access to a second elevator, where we ran into Olaf again, who started throwing fucking bombs everywhere. Phase 2 was bombs and hyenas together, which again was pretty simple. And the final phase had us fight Olaf's grand prize, the alpha hyena. Who's that? Are we forward scouts? I've never heard of this until now.
No, I think the forward scouts are the hyenas.
No, he's talking like badly about. Ah!
When you stab it.
Oh, he ate. Oh, he's throwing rocks. Hey, stop that.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, he's invulnerable. Oh, he's charging.
I don't get it.
Matt.
I'm good.
He's dead.
Nice.
Oh, we got him.
Holy shit. Oh, I got his head.
Skip.
Oh, let's go.
Now I am the alpha now. Olaf now completely defenseless. We chase him up a level and Olaf fucking dies. Oh. Just kidding, this game is very PG. Anyway, we nabbed the master key out of the crazed man and the blueprint for titanium tools, which was a very nice prize. And with freeing the villagers, we got access to a bunch of free goodies, completing the story of Raft along with the achievement. Now that the story was complete, we could beeline for the final 24 achievements. A couple of which were completely out of my control, like these two to find super rare islands that only have a 2% chance to spawn. I was a little worried about these, as we completed the entire story and 80% of the entire game and had yet to see one. Which is why it was really awesome when the very first island after Utopia I spotted was in fact one of these islands, the Crash Plane Island, where I got the achievement and a cool pilot's helmet. Yes! Not a great landing achievement. On the next island, I got the 50 digs achievement. And in 50 digs, I was only halfway through this one and 1/8 of the way through this one. At the next big island, I sold a bunch of fish once again to then buy the advanced versions of the medium and small crop plots. Now that we'd finished the story, researching these got me the bookworm achievement, as now we'd researched everything in the game. Also, this Screecher was our 10th Screecher kill, only 40 more to go. The next few hours were filled with plenty of Raft chores, upgrades, and progress towards some of those grindy achievements. I also got started building a second story to the engine shed, as I had plans for some more industrial areas, like a place to grind trash cubes and a level to charge batteries. Alright, I'll do some fucking painting. On the first floor of the shed, I actually ended up removing 2 of our engines, as I found out we actually only needed 4 for our size of raft. And with no plans to expand past where we already had, I filled up the space with additional fuel tanks instead.
It should be pretty low.
Oh, hello. Nice. Oh,
Did I kill him and just get... What's happening to me? Help. Help, I can't move. Help. Help. What's going on?
now that the raft had some verticality to it, I finally set up some zip lines around the joint for ease of access, which eventually got me the Expert Zippernaut achievement too. One of those final blueprints we bought from the store was the detailed plank recipe, which was really able to give some nice designs to the raft. I particularly liked giving certain areas borders, like the beehive area, and I painted the borders where the original raft actually began all those days ago. I finally got our 3rd tiki piece, and not long after, another one. But of course, my luck, these 2 recent additions were exactly the fucking same. Digging treasure had become such a major activity considering I still needed 7 pitches, but this did eventually pay off, as I got the Foul Fogs one and on the exact same island, the After the Rain painting too. About 5 islands later, I couldn't believe my luck. I found what even is. 3 dev paintings in the span of an hour after getting 1 in about 50 hours. Anyway, I decided I didn't really like the tone of the red I was painting the industrial shed, so I changed it to a more of a maroon, which I think looks a lot nicer. And doing so actually got me the final painting achievement to paint 1,000 blocks. This dig right here finally got me something very special, the final tiki piece. But when putting them all together, no achievement? Turns out they needed to be stacked in a specific way, like this, getting myself a lovely mask and of course the former glory achievement. And I guess the good luck was now on my side, as shortly after I saw something very special on the horizon. Oh my god, I got the fucking second rare island. Both islands in 146 days. Yes! Oh, Captain, my Captain. My final RNG-based achievement was, of course, those infamous dev paintings. The rest was simply just time-consuming. Next up, I wanted to capture some final bees for that beehive achievement and continue progress on the bear kills, so I inputted Balboa's coordinates again to force the game to spawn that biome of islands. Quickly enough, I found one where I found out that there was 2 tree types that I didn't even know existed here, that looked a lot better than others and gave more wood. This got me in a bit of a building mood, and I'd always wanted to upgrade the tree farm area, so I did just that. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the brand new garden. Kind of looks like a wedding venue. I keep turning things into wedding venues. I'd get married here at the beehives. Complete with a banana plantation, potato fields, flower growing, and even underfloor plumbing, so all the crops would remain watered. What's crazy is, at the island I'd parked at while building, I found another tiki piece. The exact piece I'd need to make another tiki pole. 2 poles and still only 5 paintings. They ended up being great decorations for the garden, so I guess that's a win there. I finally locked in painting number 6 a few days later, and I moved the collection to the side of the garden as they looked pretty nice here, and kept all the double ups on the shed. This wasn't planned at all, but I managed to complete the Shark Hunter line of achievements, and right next to Stacy's resting place, I completed the final Poison Puffer achievement too. And at this exact island, I caught my final 2 creatures, also finishing that line of achievements. It's kind of crazy all of these lined up so well. Now, everything up to this point was done legit, with no relogging or exploits in any way. But these final hunting achievements, as well as a few of the final grindy ones, were just a bit too much for me to stomach. And after watching other 100% videos on YouTube, I realized it was pretty socially acceptable to relog trick these, as it still progresses the achievement if you kill the creature, relog, and then do it again. Which is exactly how I got the Kill 50 Screeches achievement. The Screecher even did a little boogie to celebrate another milestone. You could even relog trick to reroll what was in treasure I dug up, which is exactly what I did here to lock in our 7th dev painting. 1 more to go. This game was really starting to mock me when I got 2 double ups in a single dig, which I didn't even realize was possible, and on a final Balboa biomed island, I caught the final bees I needed and did the relog trick with this bear to lock away Expert Bear Hunter. Oh, hello. I was on my phone. Whoops. Bam. Heading back to Varuna Point to proceed to murder the same anglerfish a billion times, getting the 10 and 50 kills achievements, and back on a regular large island, I did the exact same thing to this poor warthog, getting this achievement too. During all this, I'd also constructed a second story to the animal area, and separated the lot into 2 large pens, both with 3 sprinklers each. The main reason being was I was going to be able to AFK longer to progress the Master Survivor achievement without all the animals dying of starvation. And would you believe me if I told you throughout this entire playthrough, I hadn't properly died once. Mainly because this game is pretty simple when it comes to combat, and I had teammates that would res me anytime I'd get knocked. So, as an apology to Stacy, I let her eat me 25 times with an empty inventory to get the Ocean Cemetery achievement, locking this one in at day 210. And about a single in-game day later, I finally found the grand prize, the final painting, finally getting artistic collection. Yes! And I once again used the relog trick and spammed simple foundations to unlock Expert Builder. I then proceeded to AFK over the course of almost an entire month, only being able to AFK for about 2 hours at a time before having to come and top up the animals' batteries. This AFK time was literally about 40% of my entire playtime 100%ing this massive video game. And I'm not gonna lie, after finishing up, I don't think I'll ever want to see another Raft ever again. Upon my return, I proceeded to drop 1 billion planks of wood into the ocean individually to then very laggily do this. Oh. Uh-oh. Okay. This is very laggy. Got it. I got it. I prepped some celebrations for the end of the video, and I'd also prepared 5 special meals to consume all at the same time, getting myself the Powered Up achievement. Setting off the fireworks to celebrate my final night of the in-game year racked me up the Real Fireworks achievement. Okay. God, I got the achievement. I barely got to see any of them. Finally, after 90 plus hours on our floating home, waking up unlocked Master Survivor of Raft. That was 100% of Raft. And of course, because I'm evil, one of the 105 achievements was indeed fake. First person to comment the correct fake achievement below will be my heir to the channel. Thank you very much for watching. And of course, make sure to check out Odoo's link in the description below. Odoo, the all-in-one business management platform.